Good afternoon. Welcome to my presentation on a couple of teaching strategies that I think are very important. My name is Max Dyson. Welcome to the principals and school leaders. So the first teaching strategy that I'm going to be touching on is small group work. Okay, so this means what small group work actually means is breaking your class up into smaller groups of students. The groups, depending on the task, should be selected so that you could probably mix up the students in a certain way where you have a mix of dominant and not so dominant students in between, and they can kind of be able to work well together. So some of the key features of small group work include that the students can move more readily from receiving knowledge to actually processing the knowledge and using it in ways that they think work for them. Um, Also encourages cooperation between students, and it's really good to improve their social skills whilst they are taking in that academic content. Um, I'll move on to the learning context in which it should normally be used. You should normally use small group work when you want to encourage learners to develop their social skills whilst they are learning the academic content, as I touched on earlier. This means that basically you want them to interact with each other and try and bounce each other's ideas off one another. Um, One of the you should be able to use it too is when you want to be able to work with small groups of students while others are still learning, so you can move around the room and talk to talk to each group, and you know that when you're working with that group, you're not just leaving others sitting there doing nothing. Basically, they can still be doing their work, and it's also very good to use it when the task is too big for individuals to do on their own. So it might be a group poster or something like that that has a lot of information involved, a lot of work involved. Um, and the impact it has on student learning, okay, small group work allows students to become active participants in their learning. I mean, they kind of determine where they go with their learning because they're working independently with a monitor, obviously, but they still kind of dictate where they go with it. It exposes students to diverse areas and approaches. I mean, they're going to come across different types of things when they're learning. I mean, they'll be working with different people that will have different ideas, and they need to negotiate and all those kind of things and work out the best way to do things. It also helps students develop skills that they'll use later in life, especially when they're working, um, and the skills that employers like when they're employing. So life skills, I guess you could call them. Now, how does group work contribute to effective teaching practice? I mean, it's when you're teaching small group, you need to be one effective teaching practice. You really need to look at teacher clarity. I mean, they need to know exactly what they're doing when they're going out into their small groups. So you need to have a clear purpose and learning goals. That they know exactly what they need to do when they're going out. Um, you need to let the students know the success criteria, so they need to know what they need to do for that lesson to for them to be no to have a success in that lesson basically, and you should present models or examples of exactly how they should work um, on the stuff they're doing. Okay, the second teaching strategy I'll be looking at um, is direct instruction. So some key features of direct instruction is it's the teacher stands at the front and basically um, delivers the content in a highly structured way and directs the activities of the learners. So they're basically telling you exactly what you need to do and how you're going to do it. Different other strategies because the teacher maintains a close control of the students. Um, Learning outcomes and success criteria need to be made clear before instruction. Emphasis on academic achievement. Teacher provides constant feedback to students. So when should you use direct instructions. When learners have limited prior knowledge to a topic, concepts and relationships you are teaching are very complex and difficult to identify. Also, when you want learners to focus on learning rather than the procedure of learning. The impact on student learning, success really depends on the appropriateness of its use and really the effort and enthusiasm of the teacher. I mean, what they learn comes down to what the teacher says. So it's really important that the teacher is really on, and the student hears exactly what the teacher wants to hear, which has a big impact. Um, uh, when touching on effective teaching practice, the teacher must be very clear. So teacher clarity is one that I'm going to talk about here. The teacher must make it clear to students exactly what they want them to understand when they're talking, because if they're not understanding what you're telling them, there's no other way for them to learn. And another thing is they need to have proper outcomes. Um, so they really need to know. And when you're talking to them, you need to have you need to give examples, explanations that make sense to the students, because if they don't understand what you're saying, then there's no chance of them learning. So yeah, so I hope that helped. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks a lot. Bye.